In this video we will have a look at Python file handling, where we have various operations we can perform on files. Python file handling is about handling of Python files, and this could be reading a file, writing a file, deleting a file, amongst other file handling operations. So here we see open, create, read, write, rename, append and delete files. File handling tasks can be undertaken using different platforms, so Windows, Linux and Mac operating systems. And here is the OS module directory I've taken a screenshot of. So we will typically import the OS module, which is the operating system module. So it works with the operating system dependent functionality, and you may recognize a lot of these commands. For example, in blue I've highlighted some of the Linux-like commands. For example, chdir, which changes the path of the current working directory, chmod, which changes the file permissions. We've got kill for killing processes, rmdir for removing a directory, mkdir for making a directory, and so on. And I'm going to be working with the Windows operating system. And we will take a look at the ones in yellow, and the open function is a key function in particular because Python uses the open function to work with files, such as opening, reading and editing these files. And then there is path, which allows you to verify if a path exists to a file or a folder, and rename, which will rename a file or a folder. And we will have a look at each of these in PyCharm shortly. So here we are. The path variable implements operations on path names, and the syntax is os.path. And then there's rename, which renames a file or a directory, and the syntax is os.rename. And then you would use the source and destination files, or if it's a folder, a directory, you would use source_dir _fd and dst _dir _fd. So you would need a source and a destination, and the original file or folder, and what you are changing it to, the destination. Now with handling files, the open function is one of the most commonly used functions, and it allows you to read, write and append files. The syntax for the open function is open and closed parentheses, and inside here there are two parameters, file name and mode. File name, of course, is the file name itself. You can either put in the file name if the file is in your project working directory in PyCharm, or you would put in the full path name with the file name. So where it sits in the operating system, and there's quite a few different options for the mode. We will have a look at this shortly. Actually, I have an example here. So open and then myfile, which is the file name. So the example, open myfile.txt, and then the mode in this case is R. R is for read only, but actually this is the default anyway, so I don't need to specify R, but I have done here. And then these are the options. So to open a file, we can use the built-in open function, and the following modes are supported. So R opens a file for reading purposes, and this is the default, and will produce an error if the file does not exist. And then there is W. With W, it opens a file for write operations. However, when you update the file, data will be overridden to the existing file. So it will overwrite the data. And if the file does not exist, it will create a new file. Then there is A, which allows you to append a file. This is similar to the write operation, but the difference is it will not override any existing data. It will add data to the existing data. And X, this is purely just to create a file, and it will return an error if the file already exists. And optionally, we can specify if the file should be handled in text or binary mode. So text mode is a T, but this is the default, and just like the R for reading a file, it does not need to be explicitly specified because it's the default anyway. And then there is B for binary mode. So these are the core concepts of file handling in Python. In the next set of videos, we will have a look at live demos on handling these files, doing file operations in Python.